Hey, so how about I actually play State of Decay 2 instead of just sitting here talking about it all the time? Let me switch to the bottom right here because I've got some bounties that I've been going after lately. We recently launched Update 21, which means we've got a new bounty pack, and I've been working on trying to achieve some of those bounties. And actually, we've got more than that going on. You'll notice that there is this thing up here, the Xbox Hall of Fame. There's a Hall of Fame contest going on, and actually, probably by the time I release this video on YouTube, it's either going to be in progress or possibly even already done. So anything I say about it at this point is probably useless. But I got folks in the chat who are actually excited about it because it's a contest that I think we're doing it, Forts is doing it, and Sea of Thieves is doing it, where you can win an Xbox Series X by sort of effectively dominating sort of temporary leaderboard in a certain activity. I think Forts has got some activity they've assigned people to do. Sea of Thieves has got their own, and we're doing a speed run killing plague hearts. So basically, starting at actually, I guess now. Okay, so right there, I'm not eligible for the Xbox Hall of Fame because I've played multiplayer with this community before, and so I can't really, I basically you have to play in single player in order to get it because there's so many advantages for playing in multiplayer that we wanted to make sure that people legitimately qualified for for the contest without getting too much of an advantage over people who, like me, don't have any friends. But anyway, so like. Arcade Remnant in the chat, for instance, is talking about how they've been practicing. They've been going through and just blasting through all the plague hearts in a map again and again in order to get ready for this. And it's going to be a stiff competition. We've got folks in our community who have been practicing this hardcore, who have been just going crazy. This was a thing that they were doing before this was ever a contest. Like they sort of invented speedrunning State of Decay 2. So good luck to everybody. I mean, there's so much variability and randomness in the way that plague hearts get distributed, in the way that everything in our game happens. There's still a lot of room for somebody who, with a mixture of skill and luck, could do much better than they might expect. And so I feel like a lot of people have got an opportunity to win a Series X, which is pretty exciting. So of course, I'm not going to bother because I'm not eligible. I work for Microsoft. Instead, I'm going to be poking around and trying to get some bounties. So I've got a couple of bounties here. One is to kill armored zombies with revolvers, which, by the way, is super difficult and annoying, and I actually am very excited about it. Like, we've had this bounty system for a while, and we got we got a limited set of tools for setting up bounties early on, and it grew a little bit over the first few times we did bounties. Just the number of different things we could ask players to do in a bounty kind of slowly grew. But we're kind of at a point now we've kind of got all the verbs in there that really make sense for bounties. But that particular one was pretty inventive. The designer who put it together, basically, because armored zombies are immune to being killed with guns until you knock their helmets off. You have to first knock their helmet off and then shoot them in the head with a revolver, which, in the dread zone, it's a lot easier than in the standard zone because you can actually, what I'm doing right now is I'm driving around trying to find hordes of armored zombies. Those spawn not too infrequently in the dread zone, so I'm hoping if I drive around enough, I'll eventually run into one. And then I've got actually two bounties. You'll see at the top of the screen. I've got two bounties about armored zombies. One of them is heavy weapons, and the other one is revolvers. So right now, I'm driving around with a character who has a heavy weapon. So that's what I'll be going after, is trying to kill 8 more of them with heavy weapons. I've got other characters who have revolvers that I'll switch to later. The strategy around bounties is interesting. Usually, what you want to do is activate multiple bounties that you can pursue with the same character at the same time. So right now, the fact that I've completed so many bounties already means that my options were kind of limited. So you see, I'm doing something I don't usually do, which is I've got kill 12 out of 20, kill 25 armored Zeds with revolvers, and kill 10 armored Zeds with heavy weapons. I can't do those simultaneously. I'm always either doing one or the other, and so that's not very efficient. I would be much more efficient if I had kill something else with heavy weapons, or kill, whatever. Or occasionally I've actually managed to get 2 bounties that were for effectively the exact same action at the same time, which is always satisfying to get credit for doing 2 things with 1 action. Arcade Remnant asks, when are we getting bounties for killing plague hearts with close combat weapons? That's something I hadn't thought of. So actually, this is a case where we could sort of talk about like the philosophy of game design a little bit, or specifically of reward design or achievement design. Because, so right now, one of my day-to-day jobs is working on the new 5th difficulty level. So we've already announced that there's going to be one. We haven't announced any details about it, what it's called, or anything like that. People have colloquially been calling it the Red Zone. That's not likely to be its final name, but it is a name people have been using out in the community. Man, one thing about the Dread Zone is your cars are made out of freaking paper mache, and it's only to get worse at the 5th difficulty level. I've actually... the numbers got dramatically worse. I think you can hit about 4 zombies before your car starts getting in big trouble. Anyway, that's the current tuning. Who knows? It might be different by the time we ship. This is why you come here, to get just the random spilling of stupid, pointless secrets. Anyway, so when we're considering, and again, no, I'm not making any promises about specific features here because we have not settled on our final plan yet, but the question of, should there be achievements for the 5th difficulty zone? That conversation has come up, and I'm not going to tell you, exactly what we settled on actually doing, but that raises some interesting questions, right? Because when a player buys a game, or in this case, subscribes to a service that includes a game, which is how a lot of people play State of Decay 2, one of the things that they get excited about is, well, there's a bunch more achievements now. I bought this game. I've got the opportunity to get a lot more, gamer score. There's some players for whom that's silly and they don't care about gamer score. In fact, there's some game developers who think gamer score is silly. But I, for one, am actually kind of an achievement hound. I'm not as committed as some, but I really do love getting achievements, and I understand the motivations behind people who like getting achievements. By the way, I should probably point myself at one of my outposts so that I can grab myself a repair kit. I think I've got some in my base at home. And so one thing that can be tough is when you're planning out the achievements for a game, do you want to make the kinds of achievements that require someone to be like one of the top 1% of players in the game in order to get the achievements? Because for your typical player, they'll look at your achievement list and they'll be like, well, this is garbage. I can't do this. I will never be like for instance, having an achievement in your game that requires somebody to like super excel at multiplayer. Like, say you've got a competitive multiplayer mode in your game, and you put an achievement in there that says, be the top player in a multiplayer match. There's some players who are literally never the top player in a multiplayer match, and they never will be the top player in a multiplayer match. And they look at an achievement like that, and they're just like, oh, you know what? I need to get gas too, unless there's already gas in the back of this car. There is. Oh, and there's also repair kits. Great. Smart move. And they'll look at that achievement, they'll be like, I feel like these developers are telling me that I'm not the player that they want. That they feel kind of not included in the game, and they'll feel like I will literally never get that. And there's also some achievements that are just endurance, right? It's like somebody says, I don't have time in my life. Like, our True Grit achievement is kind of like that. Where there's some people look at that and they're just like, I'm sorry, I love this game, but I do not have time in my life to try to make a community survive for 100 days in the Dread Zone. That's just not going to be a thing for me. And they feel a little bit left out. And so, when you're looking at something like the 5th difficulty level that we're planning, where, we want this to be a thing that even players who they've been playing for ages in the Nightmare Zone and they haven't lost a character in months, we want this new difficulty level to be deadly for those players, at least occasionally deadly for some of our best players. Will a normal player be able to survive 100 days at the 5th difficulty level? No, a normal player will not be able to do that. And so, do we want to make an achievement that requires them to do something that's that difficult? There's some people for whom, the answer is, yes, that's what achievements are for. They're for, like, really pushing people to stretch and show that they are the best. And that's why you get an achievement. That's what makes achievements valuable, is that you can do something that no one else can do. But then there's other people who are like, I don't want to be sort of demoralized by, being told that, that basically I'm not good enough to be worthy of the rewards of this game. And some people want to be able to, and some, it's not just a sense of like, not wanting to have your feelings hurt by being, told that you're not as good. That's fine. People can deal with that. It's more a sense of just like, people love to express their fandom for a game by 100%ing it. Like that's something I do with a lot of games. Is like if I really care about a game, if I really love a game, one thing I like to do to sort of just express that this is a game that I love is to 100% it, is to get every achievement or get, or if the game's got some internal collection system, get everything in their internal collection system. By the way, how much ammo do I have? I've got enough ammo that I can just sort of let my team take care of the siege. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just driving in circles and talking. That's all I'm doing, really. I think I'm aiming at an infestation now just to accomplish something, because I have not seen any armored hordes, which is what I was out here to do. Anyway, I like to express my fandom for a game by getting all the achievements. And so if there's an achievement where I'm just like, well, I'm literally never going to get that, it's demoralizing. And so, it makes me feel like, I can't do this thing that I want to do. I want everyone who looks at my achievements to know that I love this game, and they're not going to be able to tell because I can get all the achievements. And so usually my philosophy is that I want the achievements to, I think that there's several different reasons why you put an achievement into a game, like justifications for why you want one achievement and not another. One is to sort of get players to explore the game. Sometimes people will be looking over the achievements for a game and they'll find out about a feature they didn't know about because the achievement told them that it existed. And so I think that's a really good reason to put achievement in a game, is to help players realize what all their options are. Another reason is, people just like sort of getting, what the heck? Getting sort of that like dopamine drip of like, oh, I just accomplished something meaningful. Oh, hey, thanks, Elijah. I just accomplished something meaningful, and I get the little achievement toast at the bottom of the screen, and that feels really good. And so, so a lot of times you want to pepper achievements throughout a game just to sort of punctuate those moments of progression, moments of victory, by letting the player have that little extra bit of reward, And then there are some achievements where you want to push people to excel skill-wise. That's True Grit is that way. And then there's some achievements that you want to do that are specifically endurance achievements, where it's like somebody can use that achievement to prove that they are a long-term, amazing, very committed fan of the game. And so so when I'm thinking about achievements tied to the 5th difficulty level, and again, not making any specific promises, we have not completed this feature. But the way that I think about it is, I want players to discover, the 5th difficulty level. I want them to explore it. I want them to try it out. I want a player to feel like the way to have fully experienced this game is to try out this difficulty level. I don't want to tell players that they have to be the best at this difficulty level in order to get all the achievements. That feels like a little much. And so when I'm thinking about achievements for the 5th difficulty level, I'm specifically thinking about, like, what can I do? What can I ask players to do that feels like a really important accomplishment, but it's something that a player who isn't necessarily the type of player who would just live at that difficulty level, is there something that they feel like they could maybe accomplish by trying out the 5th difficulty level, getting in there for a little while, accomplishing something, and then getting the crap out of there because it is not where they belong. That feels like that actually could be a really fun, harrowing experience for a player who doesn't normally play at the highest difficulty level, to try out something new. So that's the way I'm thinking about it. And the reason I thought of that was because Arcade Remnant was it Arcade Remnant, or was it one of the other folks here? I don't remember. I think it was Arcade, who was saying that we should do a bounty that's about killing a plague heart with a close combat weapon. Like, we could do a bounty like that, but I feel like it kind of runs afoul of the same problem, which is, if we ask people to do that, like, there's a lot of players for whom that is just not a thing they're ever going to be able to do. They're not going to get the reward for that bounty because they cannot kill a plague heart with a close combat weapon. So I would probably actually not encourage people to add that bounty to the game, because while it's a crazy thing for one of our most skilled players to try, it's something that maybe a typical player would just find demoralizing. So, okay, so anyway, so catching up with the chat, because again, like, this is what I do. When you get me talking about my game, I just talk a blue streak and I don't pay any attention to anything else that's going on around me. But let's see here. So, oh yeah, it was Arcade Remnant who made that suggestion. So again, not saying it's a bad idea. I think that for a certain kind of player, that's exactly the kind of bounty they want and exactly the kind of achievement that they want. But yeah, so but Arcade Remnant says, Nightmare isn't my thing at all. So I think you probably understand why it might be frustrating for some folks. Steffens Nerdvelt says most of the criticism that they see is that the game doesn't ramp up in difficulty. Like day 20 isn't any different from day 50 or day 100. Are there any plans for scaling difficulty? So one problem that we had was that, and we noticed this while we were basically looking at the data of the game. Like, we look at telemetry to sort of tell us, how are players playing, what experiences are they having, so that when players, tell us, oh, hey, I'm having this bad experience, we can figure out, okay, is this an experience that only a handful of players have had? What does the data tell us most players are experiencing? And it lets us let's just find like economic problems, like if most players are, whatever, if nobody is ever finding this particular item anywhere, we can find out in our data, and it can tell us, oh, maybe we need to make that thing more common, maybe we need to adjust the tuning of our game to account for a problem that we're seeing in the data that we're collecting. But one thing we noticed was we had planned originally for our difficulty ramp to take a certain number of in-game days. And it turned out that actually we kind of got the numbers wrong, and most players were speeding through it much faster than we anticipated. And so what you're seeing, it's not that the difficulty ramp was flat, it's that you were getting to the maximum difficulty in just a few days, and then it was just staying at the maximum for a really long time. And so one update that actually happened with Update 21 was, and you won't see this, if you're playing a long-term community, you're not going to see this because you're already at the maximum. But if somebody starts a new community, it'll actually take them longer now to get to the maximum difficulty. So instead of getting there in just a few days, they'll get them in a couple of in-game weeks, maybe. Which means you'll actually be able to feel that difficulty change a lot more than you could originally. Oh, okay, I'm the worst shot in the world. Well, thanks. I'm glad I've got Elijah here to help me out. Oh, hey, we've got one armored guy. Okay, I'll let Elijah cover me while I try to kill this guy. Oh, did he just shoot him? Ah, oh, Elijah. Oh, man. Hitting zombies with a heavy weapon is very satisfying. Okay, you know what I need? Not a follower. That's what I need. Oh, is there a survivor I need near me? Oh, they were over. I didn't notice it was mission spawned while I was way down there. All right, fine. Well, let's head back home, which is, oh, why am I marking on the map? It's like literally right behind me. Let's head back home and grab a new character, get rid of my follower. So maybe I can actually make some progress in a bounty. What was I in the middle of talking about? I completely forgot. I feel like I was in the middle of a thought and then I did not finish it. Oh, looks like somebody needs some painkillers. Cool, good to know. All right, Elijah, it's been great. Yep, you get out of here.
We have a new development to report.
All right, let's grab somebody else. Let's say Ramirez. What you got, Ramirez? A pistol. Okay, so I think my folks that have the right equipment to go after these bounties are largely the ones who were tired and sick. So let me see if I've got a revolver hanging out in my supply locker. I'm pretty sure I don't. I'm pretty sure it's in the inventory of one of my other characters, which, it's not as hard now to get things out of the inventory of other characters because you can directly access your survivors' inventories now. Excuse me, which is great. But yeah, so I don't have it here. Is this character specialized in swordplay? He is. Okay, so maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm not going after these bounties right now. Maybe what I'm going to do is try to complete this mission. So I've got some painkillers. So let's drive back down to where we were. And also, maybe now that I've left the area of that infestation, whatever missing zombie, there was some zombie that was just spawned in a weird place, and I could never find it. So I'll head back down there. Maybe now that I've sort of moved out of the range of that building and despawned, and I'll respawn the zombies, that zombie will be findable again, and I can complete annihilating that infestation. Yeah, Reaper Rose. Yeah, exactly. There's a glitched zombie in there. It's probably like inside one of the pieces of furniture or underneath the ground or something. That kind of stuff happens. It's like it's super hard to make things like that not happen in a game as like big and flexible and simulation and physics driven as this game is. All right, well, let's head in here. Hey there, person. Here you go. That it? All right. Well, you go have fun. Oh, he just dropped me some fuel. Well, nice of you. We're not always great at telling you when you've got a prize. It's really easy to miss it sometimes. All right, well, okay, so that's where we've got the infestation. But since we're here, and since I completely avoided... Yeah, so I completely avoided a siege, which means I lost 3 ammo. So, you know, don't have the most amount of ammo, especially if I'm going to be trying to go after a revolver bounty. Revolvers tend to have rare ammo. And so you have to actually spend... If you don't have an ammo press, like I don't have an ammo press, you have to spend a lot of ammo to get the calibers that you need, you know, by just randomly generating the individual bullets. So a lot of ammo would be really useful. And barns are one place you can get ammo. Though, not this barn. Maybe the one with the infestation will have it. And, oh, some plague zombies over there. I think I've got enough plague samples right now, though, so I don't think I need to go kill some plague zombies. Okay, let's see if this zombie has respawned. Sometimes glitched... Oh, there it is. Sometimes glitched zombies are on the roof, which is kind of fun. Oh, seriously? Why do I suck so much? Okay. So this is not a proper barn. So I'm actually... Yeah, so this is not a place to find ammo. Oh, but it is a place to find repair kits. Those are kind of rare and special, so that's cool. They used to be more rare and special. We actually have... during some recent update, I think it might have been update 19, Brian went through and made more places drop toolkits because they were so exceedingly rare. Basically, the only way to get a toolkit for a while was to craft it yourself because there was just no way you were ever going to find one out in the world. And that is not true anymore. Now, I actually find a lot... Or the only place you're going to find in the world is if you got a DeWitt van. And that was it. But now, they're a lot more frequent. Oh yeah, this place. Again, also not a barn, but I mean, while I'm here, I might as well search it. So there was this bug that I wrote early on before we released the game where for a while there was no markup on any of these railings. I remember this spot. I came up and I tried to jump in and I was just like, actually, well, that's not a good simulation of what happened. I was like, and I would be jumping against this and I wouldn't be able to get in and I was like, oh my gosh. So this is like a maze for cows. And so like I was like, moo, moo, like having to follow the route, the big, dumb, circuitous route that the cows have to follow in order to get into this this place. And so I wrote a bug, and you know, and then they fixed it. I don't think that it ever went live with no markup on these fences, but it was kind of funny when there was no markup on the fences, and I was just like, I'm like a little rat in a maze or something trying to get through here. The things I tend to put in my trunk are non-stackable items. If something's stackable, I like to keep it in my inventory because I might find more of that thing, and then I can stack it, and it's nice and convenient. So Reaper Rose says one of my older community members has siphoning as part of her skills. I think siphoning is that the one that it increases your fuel yields or something? I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. We don't have siphoning as an action that you can perform on vehicles. That is something people have wishlisted. I think lots of people have wishlisted that actually. They want the ability to go up to a vehicle that's got gas in it and siphon gas out of it, which actually sounds great. It's a challenging thing. It's not an easy feature for us to add, but it is one that I definitely understand the desire for it. It's complicated because, you know, you got to figure out, well, how much fuel do you take out? What happens if the vehicle has almost but not quite enough fuel in it? How do we communicate to the player that, oh, sometimes you can take gas out of a car, but sometimes you can't? And You know, it's like there's a lot of like little details, little edge cases in that, which, you know, it's not like it's unsolvable or something, but at the same time, it's you know, there are some things that people, whoa, that came out of nowhere. There's some requests people make where it's like, oh yeah, I just need to go change a number over here and it's done, and it's just really, really easy. And a lot of those are my favorite requests because it just feels good to hear a request and then go and immediately do it. I sometimes do that on Twitter. Like, people will say like, hey, what about this? And I'm like, oh yeah, I can go do that right now. Like, when, you know, Jesse Baker in the chat suggested that they'd like to see the name Jesse James in the game, and I was like, you know, as a nickname, and I was like, sure, why not? So I went and found the name Jesse and made Jesse James a nickname for the name Jesse, and that wasn't too hard, and it felt really good to be able to do something that quickly. But a lot of features that people ask for are not that. A lot of them, it's like they sound superficially easy, you know, on the surface, but in real life, you know, what it takes to make that thing actually happen is very, very complex and involves a lot of moving pieces and a lot of little tiny edge problems to solve. And so, you know, most of the time somebody will, you know, will ask us for something and they'll be like, oh, you know, why don't you just do this? And I'm like, okay, it's easy to say, why don't you just? But in real life, you know, when you're responsible for the quality of a feature, you can't just hack in the simplest version of it. You have to think about every possible edge case, every dumb thing somebody could do, or every, you know, rare thing somebody could do, or every, you know, perfectly reasonable thing that somebody could do that isn't part of the original sort of like spec of the feature. You got to think through all of that stuff, and it's a lot of work. So, you know, sometimes you got to say no to things, or at least say not yet to things that sound perfectly reasonable to somebody on the surface. Reaper Rose says, I had a Reaper and a Rose as community members. I was so happy, but Reaper got caught in a glitch and got killed. A bit of me died with her in that moment. That's the worst thing when you know, losing somebody to just difficulty, you know, it doesn't feel good, but at least it feels like a good story, you know. But losing somebody to a glitch, I mean, that doesn't feel like it's happening within the story of the game. It feels like it's just, it feels like something different, and that really sucks. I'm really sorry, Reaper, that's an experience that you had. I've actually been trying to think through, you know, if there's, because we don't want to just make it so that, oh, well, whenever somebody dies, whatever, you can get them back, it doesn't matter. You know, that's kind of antithetical to the themes of the game, which are about, you know, consequences and living with loss and stuff like that. And so we wouldn't want to just make it easy to get back dead characters. But when something goes really wrong like that, you know, I don't know, I'd like to be able to come up with a way to sort of give people some recourse when that happens. So don't have a solution to that yet, but it is something I've been thinking about. I don't need to carry this many repair kits. Let's just drop a bunch of crap off. Alright, so there was a plague heart down there. There's a bunch of plague hearts. And whoa, we've got the mysterious wandering trader and the rare skills trader at the same time? Crazy. Okay, so I was going to go fight a plague heart, but instead, let's go after the mysterious wandering trader. So let's grab anything I want to sell. What do I want to sell? So, luxuries, of course. Always want to sell your luxuries. And then, what do I not need in here? Food dehydrator. Don't really care about storage. This, I've already got one, but I'd love to leave it in somebody's inventory. White noise machine. Like this. Power tools. I think that's just speed, right? Who needs speed? CNC mill is valuable, though. I want to hold on to that. What's this? Soldering station for electronics. Yeah, let's keep that. What else do we have? Let's see. What about rare resources? We've got 61 chemicals isn't that much. Ethanol. I don't know. Let's sell some of our ethanol. And of course, I got a bunch of influence too. So, all right. So we got some stuff to sell. Let's head down there. Actually, I guess the closest one is that one. All right, headed down to the trader. Oh, so awesome Twitch dude asks, would chainsaws also need new zombie animation? So speaking of features, adding features to the game that are more complicated than they sound. When somebody says, oh, why don't you add chainsaws to the game? We add new weapons to the game all the time. That doesn't seem like a huge ask, right? Except the way you would wield a chainsaw is entirely different from the way you would wield any other weapon. So it would require new animations for the player, new animations for the zombies, new particle effects coming out of the zombies as you're chopping them. Right now we have certain patterns of damage to zombies that are based on either hitting them really hard, usually with a blade, or shooting them, but we don't have the exact pattern of damage that you would get from slicing a zombie with a chainsaw. So there's tons of things we would have to add, and ultimately our game is not realistic. Obviously, there's a lot of it that's not realistic, but it does sort of have an air of authenticity. This is not Dead Rising, where you can just make whatever weird thing you want into a weapon, and it just works. And and it's like you're like video games, whatever. Our game isn't like that. We are trying to sort of simulate something authentic, and while absolute realism is just not in the cards anyway, and the game can't be fully realistic, there is something about the attitude of the game that sort of comes across as authentic. Like, you feel like the story you tell about your characters is a story that feels like, if this scenario were actually real, it's the kind of story you could tell about real people. Can I get through this? Let's see. I think the answer might be no. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is not going to work. Okay, so there are so many zombies on me right now. And that one is going to just get that door. I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything about that zombie being on that door. Oh, good. It's the Tire of Gibraltar. No, there we go. Never mind. Cool. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, I was talking about chainsaws. So even if it wasn't expensive to add chainsaws to the game, even if it wasn't just like kind of prohibitively, like, it's a lot of animation to put into one item, in the game. Like, we haven't devoted, I mean, I feel lucky that we got lever action rifles into the game. Because that took, unique animations and behaviors and effects and stuff like that. Maybe not effects, but it took the other stuff. Anyway, that was an unusually large investment for only, about a dozen weapons. To put that amount into one single weapon that most players are not even going to grab feels like a lot. Oh, whoops! Zombies showed up. So no. But then also on top of the resource question, just chainsaws are out of character for the game. The game is not really about sort of that. Like, a lot of players actually kind of protested when we released the Independence Pack because, it's kind of weird, over the top, silly weapons and silly vehicles. And, some people complained about the Revolutionary War zombies, because what they came to our game for was an authentic experience, and instead they got a silly experience with those particular parts of the game. Most of the game was still on brand and on theme for them, but some of it wasn't. And so a chainsaw feels like it's kind of in that zone of like, oh, it's a fantastical weapon that, wouldn't it be fun to kill zombies with a chainsaw? But it's not something you could actually use in real life to any real effect. And so people would, it would feel like, you're just trying to be silly. You're trying to make like a Sam Raimi movie instead of, simulating the zombie apocalypse. All right, so let's sell some stuff. Sell a food dehydrator, sell some apricots, sell a generator, sell some power tools, sell a bunch of booze. And now what can I buy from this person? Let's see here. So we've got, firearms training. You know what? I don't have the achievement for using one of these because, I tested them, but I never actually used them on my own game. So maybe I'll grab one of these. Which one, though? I don't know. Firearms. Why not? And
I just dropped off some decent scrap that
what else do they have here? G18 auto. That's kind of fun, but it blasts through ammunition. I don't have that much ammunition. B50FG. I don't usually use 50 cals. So my other game, my other community has got one of these guys. This one doesn't have it. And it's really good if I get like explosives bounties and stuff. It's really good for that. Ooh, police auction golden vulture too. Let's see here. This is just a silly gun. Like, I think Brant felt ridiculous making this gun. Let's grab the launcher. Let's grab the fancy suppressor. And let's just grab this to annoy Brant. Okay, so yay, that was a exciting trip. Where's my car? There's my car. All right, so we've been chatting for a while. Oh wait, I was about to head home, but we've got some infestations. So why don't we take care of some infestations and then go home? And then I've been playing this game for a long time. Usually I try to have shorter videos in this. Who am I kidding? I try to have shorter videos in this. I rarely succeed. Ah! Oh, wait a minute. Oh, crap. I waited too long. Unfortunately, this character's not a sharpshooter. Ow, get off me, jerk zombie. Anyway, yeah, so because this guy's not a sharpshooter, he didn't get the automatic, like, penetration through those zombies. So I think he actually probably would have taken that feral out when he was shooting it through the zombies, but it didn't work out that way. Alright, anyway. Okay, so my pistol is going to jam on me any minute now. Let's head over there and get this infestation. Luckily, I always avoid dead bodies on the road just because they might be a bloater, even if I'm pretty sure they're not. Awesome Twitch Dude says, it'll be a sad day when the State of Decay 2 updates stop. I agree that will be a sad day. It'll be a sad day for me, too. I don't think it's anytime soon, though. So, at least, you know, I'm really passionate about continuing to make this game as good as we can for as long as we can. And while, you know, I don't make the final decisions about exactly when we stop, as I understand it, our plan is to keep supporting it for quite some time. So there should still be lots more updates in the future. Pipe bombs, weirdly ineffective sometimes. Okay, so that's how I probably would fire a gun at zombies in real life. It's not the effective way to do it. Probably the realistic way to do it, though. Okay, so there's that zombie. And then there's this zombie. And we're good. I wasted way too many resources on that. Also, I am reloading this gun way too fast. So I feel like we've got kind of a weird bug on reloading where sometimes it just happens instantaneously, and it doesn't make a ton of sense. Alright, so I'm about to run out of gas. So let's head over this way to get closer to one of my outposts so I can replace the gas in the car. And oh, that is a very convenient place to have an infestation because they're all going to be clustered up. Oh wait, they're not even going to be in the house. Yes. Oh man, it's too bad I don't have any of the weapons that I need to get credit for killing that armored guy. I still didn't get everybody, huh? There we go. Both my weapons are in trouble. Let's head over to this outpost and deal with all of our problems at once. Awesome Twitch Dude asks, any plans for backpack stuff? Some cool backpacks only have 7 slots. That's such an interesting thing that you have to think about sometimes when you're designing a game, is that, you know, on one hand, you want to make there be a lot of like interesting mechanical reasons to choose one item over another. But you also need to assign aesthetics to those things. You know, they need to look a certain way. And players often get very frustrated if there's a thing that looks good that they want to wear, you know, or use because of the way it looks, and that same thing is not the best thing in the game. They often feel like, you know, like, well, I'm required to use the best thing in the game. Oh, I was going to get some gas too. Basically, I feel almost morally obligated to always equip the best possible equipment, but that means I have to ignore aesthetics in order to do that. And you know, people, that's why a lot of games will sometimes let you sort of like skin one item with the appearance of another item or something like that, in order to kind of get by that problem. Let players sort of, or maybe they just, you know, cosmetic items are completely separate from functional items, in order to let players sort of like split that difference and make their aesthetics choices separately from their mechanical choices. In a game like State of Decay 2, again, that's going for a kind of, you know, authenticity, it's hard to do that though. It's like right now, you know, we decided to make our outfit system, for instance, have no mechanical impact on the game whatsoever. Like, you can dress however you want and it doesn't matter. And we did originally think, you know, well, what if, you know, should we make it so that like if you're wearing thick clothing, you know, that protects you from damage, or, you know, should we give you gas masks to protect you from bloaters and stuff like that? And that was one decision we could have made, but we ended up deciding to make outfits not mechanically relevant, because if we gave you something like a gas mask that protected you from bloaters, there's a lot of players who would feel like, well, now I have to always wear a gas mask. That's the only thing I can wear. And we'll find that, you know, power players, their communities are just made of nothing but people in gas masks. Get off me, you jerk. Oh, holy crap, there are way more zombies here than I thought would be here. My health is not the best right now, both in the game and in real life. Last magazine, huh? Well, it'd be nice if I was a better shot then, huh? Holy crap, there's like 8 zombies in this infestation. Ah, get off me. I guess I could kill them with the car. Or, you know, with anything besides this gun. I don't know why I just insist on using the gun. Also, I'm all out of heals. This is just a bad plan overall. Oh, come on. Okay, one more. Where are you? Got 3 bullets left, one more zombie. Hopefully that's enough bullets for the zombie. I hear something. Oh, what? Stop embarrassing me, zombie. Alright, I think that's all the infestations cleared. So let's head back home and we'll end this session. Because I've been playing this way too long. We should play some more games. So Arcade Remnant is giving advice for killing plague hearts and says, let go of the stealthy stuff. Killing a heart kills all the plague zombies nearby, so just kill it quick enough not to get jumped by a ton of zombies. That is sort of the primary strategy of killing a plague heart. And I think the reason why we set it up that way is just because we wanted the moment of killing a plague heart to feel very satisfying, right? And if killing a plague heart meant that then you had to spend another 5 minutes mopping up all of the remaining zombies, the moment of killing a plague heart wouldn't feel very special. You wouldn't feel like, yes, I did it. You'd feel like, I'm still dying. And then the last moment where you actually got to feel like, whew, I did it, would be just killing one last zombie, which just, you kill one last zombie all the time. That's like not a special moment. So it would just kind of feel bad. And so that's like why we set it up so they're like, okay, when you kill the plague heart, it kills all the zombies, and that's great. But that means that now there's a dominant strategy, which is just get in there and kill the plague heart as fast as you can, and it just takes care of all the other problems, which is also kind of weird. So, it's, there's no perfect choices. But yeah, that is absolutely the best strategy. Get some very high damage weapon of some kind and just get in there. And, if you can stay outside the building, that's the best. Give yourself a lot of mobility or a lot of distance and just, take the plague heart out as fast as you can from a position of safety. And then it just kills all the nearby zombies. You don't have to deal with all the ads. Or, maybe just suffer with a little bit of, zombies attacking you from behind and just get that last bit of damage in on the plague heart and kill it. And so it's something we're thinking about, when we're addressing the 5th difficulty level, is, what should the plague heart experience level be? What should the plague heart experience be like when your goal is to just make it as hard as possible, which is different from trying to make it feel satisfying. People who want the game to be as hard as possible aren't necessarily looking for the same kinds of moments of satisfaction as other players. So it's a little bit of a different calculation. Again, not making any specific promises, but you do have to think about that stuff a little differently. The kind of player, you've got a lot of different kinds of players who play your game, and a lot of times, when you're thinking about a particular feature, you'll design one part of the game very differently from another part of the game. You'll design the green zone with different motivations in mind than the 5th difficulty level, because it's just different kinds of players who are playing those, and they want different things out of the experience, and so you design around different priorities. Okay. Anyway, so while my friends sit there and fire endlessly at armored zombies, which is kind of fun, I think we will wrap this up and go to the end screen, subscribe button, all that stuff, and, it's only 1:45. I'm sure we have time for another game, so we'll play something different.